Okay, so for your week 4 assignment, your assignment is going to be to create a bouncing ball in Maya that bounces at least 4 times. And you can also create obstacles for that ball to bounce and interact with. Walls, you can create a ground, you can create other balls that can bounce around and hit each other. So that's the assignment, and here is the explanation. All right, so here is the week 4 assignment video. So we're going to start this off. We're going to do as much as we can, and this is a 2-week assignment. So there's going to be a lot to figure out in Maya. And in class, we have gone over kind of the Maya interface and the where everything is. But I'm going to go through the assignment and kind of walk through again what we can do. So let's start with, I'm going to create, go to polygons and a sphere, and then you drag it on the grid and you see it create there. And now remember, I can hit over here, translate, rotate, or scale. Now the assignment is going to be another bouncing ball, and you can also create other stuff for that bouncing ball to bounce into. So you can always go back to create, polygon primitives. I'm going to create a plane and drag it along here and go over to the channel box. And so now I've got my ball, I've got my ground, and then if I want, I can create some walls. I can create a plane again if I want, or I can go and create a cube. I pull it out, and then I pull it up and create a cube here. All right, and make it a wall here. So I can always go back over here in the channel box and move things around too. So I can create as many obstacles as I want and have that ball bounce along. But I'm just going to create one for this, and then also I'm going to, when I've got it a little bit wider, you'll see that there's this perspective and graph editor. And that's probably going to be the best for me to work in. So I'm going to start off on frame 1. I'm going to set a key and go to a different frame, set another key. I like auto key on. If this little key is red, then auto key is on. So I always turn that on. And what that means again is that whenever I move, it automatically sets a key. So the difference being, if auto key is off and I move, you can see it hasn't set a key. So if I go back and I check, then all of a sudden I've lost all my movement. So I want to keep it on, and you can see it automatically sets a key there. And these are my curves, my translate X curve, so that's going to be the movement forward, and this is my movement down, that translate Y curve. So I'm going to put it on the ground, and I'm not even going to worry about squash and stretch just yet. Now if I want to create a bounce, I'm going to use this button here to create a linear path. This is going to be a smoother spline path, but this one's going to be a linear one. So I'm going to go through, kind of got my basic ideas here. Move this forward. Move this back down to the ground. So I can use my graph editor, or I can actually move things around in the in the workspace, in the viewport. And I'm gonna, so you can, the other thing I can do is I can set the top to flat. So you can see I've kind of got my bouncing ball working here, and then it's going to kind of go up towards the wall and then bounce off the wall. I want to bounce there, so I'm going to want linear. And I'll go back and set my key here. See, now it's sort of bouncing off the wall. And then set a key here and move it back. And you can see how when I set the translate X in motion, I can really see what's happening on that in the graph editor. And I get kind of a nice smooth curve. If I set too many keys in here and I start to get something that's a little bit not as smooth, whoops, then you're going to see it's going to show up in my motion. See how it's kind of choppy in there? I'll press play here in a second. See how it's nice and smooth at the beginning, and then it kind of gets kind of choppy. So if you get that choppy motion, you want to go in here and delete some keys. And once you do that, you're going to get smoother motion. Now, it's not that you can't set a lot of keys. You can. You probably want to go in here and set some breakdown keys to make sure you get a nice weighty drop. But you also always want to make sure that things are smooth. These curves are smooth and not choppy. Okay. And there you go. Okay, once you've got your animation done and you want to turn it in, then you find the angle that you want in your window, because whatever window you're in here, it's going to that's what it's going to give you. All right, so then you anywhere on your timeline here, you right-click on the timeline and you'll see something called Playblast. And you go to this little box and you click on that box, and it's going to give you some options. So if it's QT right there, that's going to be QuickTime. So you can either do a QuickTime or an AVI. In this particular case, you don't want to do an image, so I'm going to do an AVI. Encoding none is fine. You can set your quality at 100. You can set your scale at 100. Now, this display size, set it to from window. And so that'll just mean that whatever the window size is, that's what it's going to be. Now, mine's pretty spread out, but you can just kind of make your window the size that you want it, and then that should work. Hit Save to File and Browse, and then you can go and browse and find. It'll automatically put you in a spot, and as long as you know where that is, that's fine, and you can call it whatever you want to. Hit Save, and so now you know where that file is. If you want to create a specific folder, you can, and you can put it in that folder. And then you're going to hit Playblast. And so you can see it sort of pops through all of the images, and now it's created a movie file. And you have this movie file. You can go into your folders. So you can find it, and right there is that folder, and here is the file, and this is what you're going to upload, is this movie file. So, and that's it.